Shalom Mashpaka. May peace, serenity, and prosperity be multiplied unto you all. Kalala abayaba, shemamashiach yavushat barakatah, halawaya. Welcome in. Welcome everybody. Welcome. I want to begin this lesson off exactly how the title states. Beware of the reprobate messengers. Yes, beware of the reprobate messengers, better known as false prophets. One thing we all have to be on guard about is that not everyone who is teaching the Bible, preaching the word, etc., is qualified to be dealing with the word. Not everybody is qualified to be teaching the Bible. And just because an individual may have some type of worldly accreditation, such as a theology degree, or they went to some other institution, religious institution, that proves to the world that they know a little something concerning Yah's business, that still doesn't make one qualified to be dealing with these scriptures. Now, I want to kick this off with words from Hamashiach in Matthew chapter 7, verse 15. It reads, "Beware of false prophets, which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves." So that's how a lot of these reprobates that I speak of are. They're very crafty, they're very cunning, and they're full of mischief and deceit. A prime example of these reprobates that come in sheep clothing are these mega church pastors, and even more pastors below them who aren't as worldly renowned as they are. This is why it's very important, Mashpaka. This is why it's very important to have the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit must be with you so you have the appropriate discernment regarding these matters of false prophets and everything else in life. The Holy Spirit has all knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, and it won't lead you astray. However, those who lack the Holy Spirit don't have the necessary discernment to see who these false prophets are. And we are commanded by our Messiah to beware of such false prophets that come in sheep's clothing, but inwardly are ravening wolves. What does that sheep clothing look like? Well, for one, very graceful speech, well-mannered, very kind, and speaks so many good things, so many smooth things, to the point where it's like they walk on eggshells not to offend. They say all the right things, very crafty with the tongue, very crafty in their mannerisms. That's the sheep clothing. They tell the people exactly what they want to hear, instead of coming from the rawness and realness of the scriptures concerning Yah's business. They tell you that it's okay if you're in error. They tell you not to worry about it because God is going to bless you anyway. They say such and the like. And family, this sheep's clothing takes many forms. And one thing we know, which is another prime example of this sheep clothing, are how witches operate. Witches operate the same way. And these witches are also, many of them are also reprobates. They're very kind. They have this sweet demeanor. They're very well-mannered. But inwardly, they're ravening wolves because all of their devices have the pulling cords of Hasatan. And this goes to, as the same for these pastors, these messengers, these false prophets. They also are coming under a cloak which has Hasatan's pulling strings on their soul. So, getting further into it, we're going to highlight a lot of these carnal characteristics, these characteristics that pertain to a reprobate. But to validate everything that I just spoke of, we're going to speak and touch on Titus chapter 1, verse 16. They profess that they know Yah, but in works they deny him, being abominable and disobedient, and unto every good work reprobate. So they profess that they know Yah, but their actions say otherwise. Their doctrine says otherwise, because they will take the knowledge of the scriptures, twist it up, and mix it up with their own profane doctrine, speaking in a way that is double-minded. And those with the Ruach Kodash, Holy Spirit, can see that coming from a mile away. Continuing on, 2 Timothy chapter 3, starting at verse 1. This know also, that in the last days perilous times shall come. For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy. So that's the first group of characteristics which describe such reprobate messengers, reprobate pastors, reprobate prophets. They're very arrogant, boasters, they're covetous. They want this, that, and the third. They're full of pride, and they speak blasphemy. They also act blasphemy. They act and speak contradictory to the scriptures if one with the eyes to see can see. You will catch these times when they act as such, when they speak as such. They're also unthankful people. They're ungrateful. They're disobedient to parents, and they're downright unholy. Verse 3, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good. So with these same individuals that we're talking about, these reprobate messengers, those who come under the cloak of holiness, but underneath that cloak is straight wickedness. Yes, they're without natural affection. They don't have any pure love within them, especially for their own. They have no pure affection within them. You will find these people despisers of their own nation as well. They're truce breakers. So whatever covenant that is made for peace, they will break that covenant. If it is a positive covenant that encourages peace, promotes peace, they will break that without a doubt. False accusers. Oh yeah, false accusers are also gaslighters, those who gaslight, manipulate. Yeah, also known as narcissistic. All of these characteristics, Mashbaka, relate to a narcissist because these very false prophets are narcissists. So false accusations, gaslighting, lying, projecting, etc. Incontinent. They don't have any self-control. When you see that demon unmasked, they don't control themselves. Their emotions are all over the place. They go to the extreme. They're extremist. They're fierce. And they despise those who are actually good, those who are actually holy, those with the Holy Spirit. They can't stand those who are actually living for Yah. Verse 4, these people are also traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasures more than lovers of Yah. So the traitors goes to truce breakers. These people will betray you. They're heady, they're highly opinionated, they're high-minded, which also equates to pride. They're proudful. It's Salaka, they're prideful, full of pride. They're lovers of pleasures more than lovers of Yah. So they're very carnal people. This is what you will find underneath that fake cloak of holiness. You will find all of these characteristics with a false messenger, a false prophet. They mix up and twist up the pure doctrine of our holy manuscript with the doctrine of devils. You will catch these individuals speaking on matters that has nothing to do with Yah's business. But then they'll work on a way to intertwine that into such a profane doctrine to fool their followers, to fool the blind, to fool the simple-minded. Verse 5, having a form of godliness but denying the power thereof. From such turn away. From such turn away. So that form of godliness is that fake facade of holiness. That facade of kindness, gentleness, well-mannered, very polished in their speech. Walk on eggshells not to offend. They have a form of godliness, but they deny the power thereof. They deny the power thereof by their works, by their actions. Reprobates. Turn away from them. Verse 6. For this sort are they which creep into houses and lead captive silly women, laden with sins, led away with diverse lusts. So these same individuals creep into the houses of such women by the way of these screens, a cell phone, iPad, desktop, laptop, etc. By the way of these videos, social media. They creep into the houses like that and catch the simple-minded with such profane and twisted doctrines to lead them captive spiritually. these same individuals, these same women, silly women, led away with a whole bunch of diverse lust. And because of that, these same women who they prey on from the scriptures, what our scriptures are saying here, from these same women that they prey on are ever learning, and they never are able to come to the knowledge of the truth. Much because this is why you must have the Holy Spirit, so that way you're not deceived. Because deception from such people is a spiritual attack on your soul. It's a spiritual attack which will have you at enmity with the Most High, which will rob you of your salvation and put you into damnation. Verse 7, ever learning, never able to come to the knowledge of the truth. Verse 8, now as Jannes and Jambres withstood Moses, so do these also resist the truth. Men of corrupt minds, reprobate concerning the faith. So as the Egyptians withstood Moses, as Pharaoh and his whole magistrate resisted Moses, so do these people resist the truth. Verse 9, but they shall proceed no further, for their folly shall be made manifest. Salakia. For their folly should be manifest unto all men, as theirs also was. We already seeing that happen. We're seeing that happen right now with a well-known figurehead of such false prophets. T.D. Snakes. Most High is putting his dirt on blast right now, making his folly be made manifest to the whole world, to all the nations, to all men to see. Now, with such a thorough breakdown of these characteristics of what to look for, let's end it off with words from our Messiah. Luke chapter 6, verse 26. Woe unto you, when all men shall speak well of you, for so did their fathers to the false prophets. So, isn't that the truth? Everybody speaks well of the false prophets because they walk on eggshells not to offend. They feed their listeners with smooth words. They don't want to offend. They want to win you over to beguilement, to be beguiled and deceived, and to be thrust into damnation just like they are in damnation. Woe unto these false prophets. Woe unto these reprobate messengers. Woe unto these unqualified handlers of the scriptures. Woe unto all these false prophets. Woe, as our Messiah says. And with that being said, family, may peace, serenity, and prosperity be multiplied unto you all. Shalom.